All right, this is another video pertaining to organized stalking and harassment, a program where they have law enforcement agencies as well as intelligence agencies, as well as other community groups throughout and all across the country that go out and stalk and harass the targeted individual. They watch the target 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The target is surveillance. Everything that the target says, whether it's through communications of electronic devices such as cell phones to private conversations, no matter where you are, they are able to hear every single word that you say. Okay. I want to share this video that I discovered off of another targeted individual's channel. And this is one of the best videos to watch if you're trying to understand where this targeting and harassment is coming from, and if you want to get some insight as to how they operate. So this is a really good video to watch. I'll start to play it, and then I'll give new narrations throughout the video at certain points.
I want to go over this document, Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism, Watchlisting, and Everyday Policing. This is a very, very good article, and it basically goes over the whole watchlisting program here in the United States. It's put out by the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. And looking at the table of content, I'm going to try to break this video up into 3 segments. First is the executive summary in the background. That's going to be on this video. And then another video is going to be nominations and encounters with law enforcement. And then maybe a third video, which is going to be probably the most important of the 3, is going to go over the silent hits and redress. When you get to the silent hits, actually the whole document clearly spells out the targeted individual program. But when you get to 5 and 6, silent hits and redress, I mean, if you can't see that that's the targeted individual program, then and I really don't know what to say. But I mean, when you read through this document, it really speaks for itself. In the last 15 years, the U.S. government has drastically expanded a consolidated watch listing system that includes hundreds of thousands of individuals based on secret evidence. And I want to kind of underscore that or underline that. Everything that has gone on regarding the whole watch listing program. So
Putting emphasis on where he says based on secret evidence. So basically, this crime that is being committed against us, okay, is based on information that they've so-called obtained about us, and this information is secretive, it's classified, okay? It really makes you wonder and think, what could be so secret and classified about us, about the ones that are truly going through this? Really think about that.
sort of started in 2001, and this document was written in 2016. Now, skipping down to this area where it says yet a key component, it goes on to say, and the whole thing is a very good read, but there's only certain portions I can get to. Yet a key component of the watch listing system has received far less scrutiny. The known or suspected terrorist or KST file, which is maintained by the F-Boys and is accessible to federal, state, and local law enforcement entities. Now, every time I mention this, I'm going to say the F-Boys because, you know, I don't want this video flagged, and I do want to get the information
No, he is absolutely right. That's F boys is right. Yep.
out. I just want to try to keep down as much harassment and as much problems as possible to try to get the information out. So the KST, basically the KST file is maintained at the federal, state, and local law enforcement level nationwide through the NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. Now, skipping down here, you're going to hear me refer to, or the document's going to refer to the KST file a lot. So just know that that's the known or suspected terrorist file. It says the KST file is a successor of what was known until 2009 as the Violent Gangs and Terrorist Organization file, whereof the VGTOF contained fewer than 10,000 terrorism-related entities in 2000 entries in 2003. KST contains hundreds of thousands of entries today. Now that's important. I mean, this was written in 2016, and they're saying that the KST file contains hundreds of thousands of entries. You can imagine where it is today. To be sure, law enforcement agencies have a legitimate interest in coordinating efforts to locate people for whom arrest warrants are outstanding. Today, though, KST is part of a vast system of domestic. Now, this is a key sentence here. The KST is part of a vast system of domestic surveillance of people whom law enforcement labels suspect based on vague and loose criteria. So,
Do you hear that? It's part of a vast system of domestic surveillance of people whom law enforcement labels suspect based on vague and loose criteria. So the stuff that they're basing the targeting on or the surveillance on is bullshit, is what that equates to. Vague and loose criteria. Let's continue.
the KST file is largely composed not of people that commit crimes, but of people whom law enforcement consider to be, suspects. And this is basically a surveillance tool. That's what the whole KST file is all about, surveillance. Goes on to say, with serious constitutional privacy implications for those who are included in the file. Such individuals may be.
Okay, just going back a little bit. He says with serious constitutional and privacy implications. Okay, those of us that are on this list, our rights are being violated. Not just constitutional rights, civil rights, human rights, all of it is being violated. I can't tell you how many times I've had private conversations in the privacy of my own home or my own residence, only to have other people in directed conversation talk about the same exact thing that I talked about in private with someone else. Okay? These people will act out things that you've done in private so as to let you know that you're being watched. I'm pretty sure those of you that are truly targeted have experienced this. Directed conversation, street theater. Okay? Every aspect of the target's life is watched and monitored, and they can hear every single word that you say. I can't tell you how many times I've sat in the privacy of my own residence and just tested it out. I would cuss out a few people, right? I would cuss out a few people that I know in private, right? I can say whatever the hell I want in the privacy of my own residence, okay? Cussing some people out. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen the demeanors of these people change. You know why their demeanors changed towards me? Because they could hear what I said. And I only said what I said just to kind of test it out, just to see for myself. And if I'm saying something derogatory about you, I'm glad that you can hear it. Because you have no fucking business listening to what I'm saying in the privacy of my residence anyways. So if you're offended by the things that I'm saying, stop fucking listening to me. Okay? And then they will use the words that you say to try to come up with ways to paint you as some sort of terrorist or whatever, when the Constitution protects your vocabulary. Okay, that's the First Amendment of the Constitution. You can say what you want to say. All right? I don't make threats on people or anything like that. But just to show you guys that this stuff is truly happening, and there are a lot of people that are going through this stuff. When you hear about these mass shootings, a lot of these people that were involved in these mass shootings that actually committed them were, I would say 98, 99% of the time were targeted individuals that gave up, that said, screw it. I'm taking all these agents, all these people that are involved in this harassment, these gang stalkers that they pay gift cards to, that they give incentives to basically enact this harassment and terrorism towards you. You do that stuff to the wrong targeted individual, they are going to take your life. Okay? So I just wanted to share this video that this stuff it's not a joke. It is real and it is really happening to people. And it's not right. I am not a criminal. I work a full-time job Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. I take care of myself. I don't get no support from nobody. Okay? I make a honest living. I don't even go out. How are they painting me as a terror to the community and I don't even leave out the damn house? Does that make any sense? These people do their darndest to try to get my attention, to try to get me to come outside. They do all their little street theater, all their little noise campaigns, all the stuff that they get paid to do to elicit a response from the target. These people are sick and twisted. If anything, I would hope that this program is basically a trap to shine a light on the individuals that would go against their neighbor in secret. I would hope that this whole program is just a way to shine the light on the true mentally ill people in these societies. Wouldn't it be funny if the joke was really on them? Which in the end it really is anyways, with divine intervention if that comes. But you really get to see who people are that have been around you for years. When they sign up to get involved with this program, to do this type of thing to someone that they don't even know, someone that they've never even talked to personally, they just going off of somebody else's word just because they have a badge or because they work for the federal government. Let me continue this.
Stigmatized as potential
Let me
terrorists.
go back a little bit.
Surveillance tool. That's what the whole KST file is all about, surveillance. Goes on to say, with serious constitutional privacy implications for those who are included in the file. Such individuals may be stigmatized as potential terrorists and are vulnerable to increased law enforcement scrutiny, often without knowing that they are on a secret watch list. Now, again, we emphasize increased law enforcement scrutiny. We know as TIs, that's basically the TI program.
Ain't that the truth? So let me go to my channel real quick. And these are for the newer TIs that are just coming into the awareness of this, that are trying to find channels that's giving great, excellent information about what it is that's going on with us. So I just wanted to share this. This is a playlist that I've compiled on my channel of all my police harassments. Not even all of them. This is mainly, all of these are in the state of Texas. I haven't even posted all of my police encounters from the state of Texas. And just to update people that haven't been watching, I no longer live in the state of Texas. I fled Texas to get away from this type of harassment. Okay? Because ultimately, I felt like the police were trying to set up a way to murder me. Okay? So I stayed in Texas for so long. I was in Houston for a while, hence the name Ochu, 1981, Houston, Texas. That's where it started for me. Or that's when I became aware of it, rather. Been dealing with this shit all my not life, really. But in 2014, August of 2014 was when I discovered the term gang stalking and started to realize that, hey, this is an actual thing and there are also other people going through this. I'm not the only one. So this is the playlist on my channel of a good bit of my police encounters in the state of Texas. I also have many police encounters in the state of Florida as well, videos that I have yet to post that I am going to post. Okay? So I just want to let you know, this is what a true targeted individual's channel looks like. Now, granted, you may have some people that's going through this that haven't mustered up the bravery to post videos. So I'm not going to knock people that don't have evidence on their channels as of yet. The only thing I will say is use your discernment. Listen to what they're saying. I oftentimes will try to encourage people to put evidence out so people can see what you're dealing with. That's the only way that you can really connect truly with other people, is that they can see visually what you're going through rather than listening to something audio. Show proof. When you post videos, give context of what's going on in the video before you play it. So once again, if the unwitting person that doesn't know about this program is watching this and you're trying to educate them, they can easily connect the dots. You can articulate it in such a manner that they will understand and see for themselves there's something not right with this picture. There's definitely a trend or a pattern of harassment that is occurring. Okay, that's the picture that you want to paint for people. So this is all my evidence of all the police encounters that I've had. And if you go back to this channel where this guy has posted this about the watch list, individuals may be stigmatized as potential terrorists and are vulnerable to increased law enforcement scrutiny. And this is exactly what I was experiencing in the state of Texas, okay? And it still continues in the state of Florida. It's not as bad in Florida as far as the encounters because I have shelter over my head. I've talked to people that have lived out their vehicles before, and I've told them my stories about I've had all these encounters. I've shown them videos, and they're like, "My God, like I've lived out my car a whole year, and not and never had even one police encounter." So obviously, there's something up with this. These police agencies, these law enforcement agencies, local law enforcement, they get paid, they get extra monies, especially not only for your mere presence in that state or city, okay? They get extra funding if they encounter you. So that's why I was having all these fucking encounters. It had nothing to do with me breaking any laws, okay? They would get the information, they would take the information rather that they got about me or what they observed about me, and they would in turn give that information to the feds, okay? That's all they were doing. That's the police are even lied to. There's certain levels to this shit, right? So even the police are lied to as to what's really going on with us. Once again, I said they have this shit listed as classified and as secret. You got to ask yourself why. We are not terrorists. What is it about us really that's going on? Okay? Let me continue to play this. Once again, it's on my channel. I will leave the link to my police encounter playlist. I will leave it in the description section of this video when I post it. Okay? This is what a true targeted individual's channel looks like. I'm not posting shit about aliens. I'm not posting shit about fucking fairies and invincible fallen angels and all this old kind of shit. Not to say that, there aren't otherworldly entities that exist amongst us. Not to say that that's not real, but what you want to shed light on is things that you can prove, real evidence that you can prove. In the court of law, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Okay, you have to show truth. Okay, not just talking about it, but you have to show it and display it. Okay, a true targeted individual does not have time to put videos together and look for cartoon clippings and movie clippings and all this nonsense and put together these elaborate videos to poke and make fun of perps and all this kind of thing. True targeted individuals are trying to find work. True targeted individuals are working jobs, barely making enough money just to try to make it. We don't have time to put together these elaborate videos of bullshit, getting clippings of cartoons and making all these jokes and cracking jokes and all this stuff. You got some real fake TIs in the community that are not real. They are agents, okay? A lot of them, what they'll do is they'll send people to my channel to watch my videos. And then I'm pretty sure one or two of them is watching my video now. They're going to go back to the other person's channel that I'm talking about. And I'm not going to name any names, okay? I'm not going to name any names. I'm going to say suspected perp. But I'm sure people know who I'm talking about, all right? So you have to really pay attention to that and listen to what these people are saying, watch their actions, watch how they're putting their videos together, because there are a lot of fake people on here pretending to be something that they're not. and they're trying to cause division amongst people that are truly going through this, who are trying to connect and try to figure out a game plan. Okay? Be very careful when watching some of these people's channel. Let me not go off on a tangent here. Let me go ahead and continue to play this video.
right? But it goes on to say, often without knowing that they are on a secret watch list or without a meaningful way to confirm or contest their inclusion. Now, I'm going to highlight this area here, this section here, because this is, in fact, the problem with the whole program, is people cannot contest their entry if you're on a watch list, and targeted individuals can tell that they're on some sort of list.
So again, with being on this program, there's some queries, some inquiries that have been made um, against us. People going in, calling into the fusion centers, saying, "Oh, this person's a terrorist," because it may have stemmed from just cussing a narcissist out or something like that, or just cussing them out. And they call you into this fusion center, then all of a sudden that's an extra person that they have on the list and more funding that they'll get. And the craziest thing about this program is that when you're placed on this list and you've been deemed a terrorist or a suspected terrorist, you don't even know what for. So how fair is that you place somebody on a list for an alleged crime or crimes they haven't even committed or just suspected of committing, but they don't know why? Does that sound right to you? Doesn't that sound like something that's fraud or shady? I mean, you have a constitutional right to know if you have been deemed someone that is a threat in the community. Don't they normally arrest people like that? You go through the court system, you get your due process. In this situation, the targeted individual never knows. Nobody ever tells them what it is. You know why? Because they go around and the agenda changes. The slander changes. One minute the targeted individual is deemed a pedophile. The next minute they're deemed someone who is hostile and likes to assault people. You know, the next minute, oh, the target is a scam artist. Like there's so many different lies that they will put out there about the target. And then they will try to incorporate their agents around you in such a manner to try to make it seem like you are the person that they're describing as being this terror in the community. I can't tell you how many girlfriends that I've had that were honeypots that were sent to make it look like I was pimping them out. Do I talk like a pimp? Do I sound like somebody who knows how to human traffic a woman? Okay? But they will send these honeypots. There was one instance in High Springs, Florida. There was this one chick that I met. I'm not going to name any names. Okay? We started talking. You know, she gave me the impression that she liked me or whatever. I liked her. You know, she was attractive, as honeypots are. I noticed that when we would go places together, she always dressed like a prostitute. She was either dressing like a prostitute, or she dressed in clothing that was real just tattered and just had holes in it. So it was to make me look like I was trafficking her or abusing her. See, these people play these roles to try to make the target look like the criminal that they're not. We are not fucking criminals. Okay? So that's just an example. You got to watch out, dudes. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen to the women TIs. You know, they have honeypot dudes for women too. But with men especially, like women, you know, they will send these women to you to try to get you hemmed up in the court system. Be very careful with these women. Let me continue playing this.
It's very obvious. It goes on to say here, the ACLU obtained information from the F-Boys about the VGTOF KST file through a Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, request and subsequent lawsuit. Although much about the current size and operation of KST remains secret from the public. All right, remember, the KST file is secret from the public. All right, and you're going to know as we continue reading, it's going to not only be secret from the public, but it's going to be secret from law enforcement as well. All right. So
Like I said earlier, they even lied to the police as to what's really going on. I had a situation in Texas where there was a situation between myself and some perps, and law enforcement had showed up. I posted this video a while back, some years back on my channel. But anyways, the Houston Police Department shows up on the scene. I'm in handcuffs sitting on the concrete, and this Houston police officer asked me, he says, "Are you a Fed?" And as he's asking me this, he is tilting his glasses up and down. So this officer, who I believe was a good officer, was covertly trying to tell me that I was on a federal fucking watch list. This has also been confirmed by an individual that I worked with in the state of Florida. Again, I'm not going to name the name of my employer or the name of the employee. This employee doesn't work there anymore. But this individual had a has an uncle who works as a sheriff deputy in the state of Louisiana. And this individual had a conversation with me about a rapper named Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie has put out a lot of videos about being targeted by police. He has a lot of videos posting of police encounters and stuff like that. Okay. So that's how the conversation was brought up about targeted individuals, because she mentioned that he's targeted. I believe that this chick was sent to that job to kind of like warn me or to give me a tip or something. Okay. So I started to tell her what I was going through, and she says, "Well, give me your information. I have an uncle who is a sheriff deputy in Louisiana who can look you up." I was like, "Okay, cool." I wasn't using my well, I'm not gonna say that. So I gave her my information. Okay. She says, "Give me a couple days and I get back with you." I said, "Okay, cool." So a couple days went by. We communicated with each other again, and she told me and confirmed that he did confirm that I'm actually on a fucking watch list. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, she couldn't tell me what for exactly. Okay. But she said she was able to confirm that I was on that list. Okay. So let's continue playing this.
It goes on to say the more than 13,000 pages we now have covering a 5-year period from December 2003 to December 2008 offer key insight into the workings of this sprawling government database. So the KSD file, friends, it's a secret document or it's a secret file. It's based on surveillance. It is what they call a sprawling or large database. Further information we analyzed in this report came from another FOIA suit brought by the Electronic Privacy Information Center, Inspector General reports, and the government's watch listing guidance leaked to the media in August 2014.
August 2014. I can't tell you how many of my YouTube videos that I posted where I repetitively said that my targeting started in August of 2014. Okay, and supposedly this, was this government watch listing guidance was leaked to the media around that time. But is the media really talking about it? No, not really. It's funny how being placed on these watch lists um, programs, um, it's funny how coincidentally it all works out for law enforcement and the media, right? Because the more TIs that go out there and do these shootings and stuff like that, that's more stories to cover. That's more work for police officers. So it's funny how this all works out for law enforcement. That's why when you try to go to law enforcement to get help, you don't get help. Instead, you get a rebuttal saying that, oh, maybe you need to go try to get some help. Maybe you need some psychological help. Have you tried to go get checked out by a doctor in a mental facility? This is what the targeted individual gets when they try to go to the police, who have sworn an oath to protect and serve its community. This is the immediate rebuttal that you're getting. Automatically, that should set off a red flag for you, that they know what's going on and they're not going to help you because they're getting instructions from the feds not to help you. But then as an officer, you have to ask the question why. Okay, but being a police officer, you can't be a police officer if you don't know how to take orders. Okay, I think it's called insubordination. So they have to do their job, otherwise they won't have a job. And a lot of these law enforcement agencies, they are pushing out good officers every day. Officers that are starting to question, officers are starting to report things. Then they end up on the targeting program. Okay? These agencies need to be eradicated. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, they all need to be gotten rid of. There needs to be a whole revision. There just needs to be a new system put in place in regards to this, because a lot of what's going on is fraud. It's fraudulent. What they're doing is they're targeting innocent people and putting the spotlight on innocent people, while the true criminals that are out there raping children, being the poisoners in communities, selling drugs, while those types of people are getting away with crimes, they're putting the spotlight on people that are working work from home jobs, don't never go outside the house that much, and just making an honest living, and then going to bed and waking up and doing the same thing again. These are the type of people that they want to surveil and spend all this money surveilling and watching. Be very careful of people that try to encourage you to move to another state. Like if you're talking to another quote unquote alleged TI that lives in another state, be very cautious if you're being encouraged on a regular basis. Hey, why don't you come move out here? Because remember, the targeted individual is a cash cow for these fucking states. Whenever you go to a new state, oh, they love to have you so they can get their funding and then the games can begin. So be very careful with that. I'm not saying every single person on YouTube that has reached out to me and said, hey, come to my state is a perp. I'm not saying that because I know these people I'm talking. I know people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, man, are you talking about me? No. The ones that are the perps, they know who they are. I'm talking about those people that try to get you to come to their state to get you caught up in the legal system so that that state can get funding just by your mere presence of being there. That's why I was having all these encounters with the police, because they were getting additional funding to have these encounters with me. Okay? In church parking lots, why are the police coming to church parking lots? And majority of the time when I went to these police stations to get an open records request, because they would say, oh, we got a call, they never got a fucking call. So how do the police know where I'm at if I'm tucked away in the back of a big mega church where there are other vehicles that's affiliated with the church that are parked there, not even marked with the church name, just regular looking vehicles like mine? What made them come through and target my vehicle with my blacked out windows, bundled up in my comforters because it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside in the cold? Can you imagine going through this shit and being brought down to the level of living out your car because you have people that are systematically trying to destroy your life and paint you as this monster in the community that you're not, so these people can make their money? Oh, these people better pray that I'm not the one that's going to judge them in the end, because I'm going to have something very, very special in place for these people. Let's continue.
So the information in this document that spells out the KST file, watch listing in policing today, came from factual, detailed FOIAs, as well as lawsuits, as well as information that was leaked as far back as August 2014 to the media. This is factual information that I'm sharing. I want to continue reading here. This report presents an analysis of the most important findings from these documents and other resources which raise serious concerns about the fairness, accuracy, and effectiveness of the KST file. And that's what we're pointing out here. At the bottom there, it says the number of, and I put targeted individuals, has increased in the KST file, has increased exponentially from over 13,000 to it has ballooned to well over 272,000 in 2008.
And see, I believe that there are more and more targeted individuals that are being placed on this in this program. I believe that, but I also believe there are many perps that are creating YouTube accounts pretending to be targeted individuals and they're not. I don't know if the purpose is to try to cover their asses in case something goes down and they want to try to act like they're also targeted as well so that they don't get uh, prosecuted. But none of that shit matters because they have a list. You think that if they're watching targeted individuals that they're not watching you too, that they don't have your name on a list somewhere? You are sadly mistaken. And a lot of these people that are pretending to be targeted individuals are disinfo agents. They will sit up there and mix truth with lies. So you got to be very careful with some of these people that you're watching. Major signs are people that don't have no footage of what they're going through. Okay, they have no evidence of police. If you're a targeted individual, you're having police encounters. If you're not having direct police encounters, there's always police presence everywhere that you're going. Okay, not only was I having police encounters, okay, on many occasions I never got arrested. It was just them, oh, we're just checking on you, blah blah blah. And then there were some occasions where I actually got arrested. I got arrested a few times when I was in Texas, and I've gotten arrested a few times since I've been down here. Oh, the story that I have about the arrest down here in Polk County. I can't wait to put that video out. These people are experimenting on this. That not only do they have us on a watch list program and have police watching us and all this, they have other programs that are tied into this as well. MK Ultra, human experimentation with psychoactive medications. I can't tell you how many times that I felt the effect of drugs that have been placed in my food or, or placed in certain places where I would frequent in my residence or even in my vehicle. And then I felt the effects of it in my body. I can't tell you how many times I have felt this. You can't go to the doctor and get tested because guess what? When you make the appointment to go to the doctor to get a blood test, guess what happens? That doctor, that facility gets contacted and they are warned before you even get there. Okay? They are warned. So you can't even get evidence of being poisoned because the doctors have already been threatened or warned. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Let's continue.
So this file is growing by leaps and bounds, over 50,000 entries per year. That's a lot of people. Now, I'm going to do another video at a later time entitled The Targeted Individual is a Cash Cow, because that is the reason why this list, I believe, is growing. And again, this is from the document entitled Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism.
We get people paid, as I said earlier, whenever you go to a new area, a new state, okay? They get additional funding for your presence. You are making these people, you are paying these people's bills. We are paying these people's bills everywhere that we go. That's why they love having us in new places, and that's why some states will try to make it to where you can't even leave because they're making so much money off of you. I can't tell you how many times perps have said thank you to me. Oh, thank you. Maybe because I responded towards some bullshit that they did, and then they tried to twist the situation to make it look like, see, he's crazy. See, he's a terrorist. Look at what he did. But they're not showing what they're doing to us. They're only highlighting and spotlighting us. They're not showing what's going on outside the spotlight. They're not showing what's going on in the darkness, right? Because the spotlight's on us. So that's what these fucking people do. And anybody that is involved in this, that is involved in destroying the target's life, you will be held accountable. You may feel like you're untouchable or you're getting away with something because you have people that are also doing this right along with you, because you have a huge crowd or number of people that are doing this. You might think that you're safe, or you might think that, oh, if everyone says that he's crazy, then he must be crazy. So we all can't be held accountable. You are sadly mistaken, because again, just like the targeted individuals are being watched, you were being watched as well. It's no different than what happened in Nazi Germany during the time of the brown shirts. Go review your history. Look at what those brown shirts did to those people back in Nazi Germany. And then ultimately what became of the brown shirts at that time after it was all said and done. Really think about that.
Watch listing in everyday policing. It's put out by the ACLU. You can find it online if you Google search it. But this is their finding. This is the result of their finding. It says such dramatic growth does not reflect a commensurate increase in terrorist activity inside the United States during that time. In fact, terrorist activity in the United States since 2001 has been historically low and declining. Okay, and I want to emphasize that. Terrorism activity in the United States since 2001 has been historically low and declining. Yet,
Karen Melton Stewart had mentioned this to me in a conversation. We had talked on the phone. This was the ex NSA NSA analyst, okay, who's also targeted, and talked about the fact that there has been no real terrorist activity since this time, since 2001. So all this shit that they have going on is geared towards so-called domestic terrorism. It's domestic terrorism, all right. They're terrorizing innocent people that narcissists have gotten together and placed on the list. So let's say like you have a narcissist that, I don't know, that lives in your neighborhood, or maybe some people that you work with. What they will do is they will try to come up with a way. They'll poke and fuck with you, right? They'll poke at you, poke at you, poke with you, fuck with you, say slick shit. Oh, but the minute you react, you don't even have to do anything physical. But if you just say something that offends them, they will get together and submit another inquiry on you just to get your targeting increased or to make it to where you're on the list indefinitely. And that's what these bastards do. These low-life pieces of shit who have no life, who have no souls and no spirits. They only feel good in numbers. These are the type of people they can't stand to be alone. They gotta be amongst the crowd. It's these types of people that get together and do this shit to people that enjoy their personal time, enjoy their alone time, that have no problems being by themselves and being completely happy. Okay? So that's just an example of how they can try to get you on a list. They fuck with you and then you respond or react to it. Then they're like, aha, see, we told you. It's just like that little speech Tony Montana gave in that movie Scarface. So you can point your fucking fingers and say that's the bad guy. That's all they do. These people are not good people. They try to portray themselves as being good, so they got to make you the scapegoat. They got to make you the sacrifice, just like they did Jesus Christ and some other people in the Bible that went through this same very thing that we're going through. And you got some of these people that come on these channels trying to preach to TIs about the Bible and Jesus and all this, but it's these same people, these so-called Christians, that are doing this to us. Ask me how many times somebody from a church that I parked at came to me and asked me if I needed anything and asked if they could help me. Ask me how many times when I parked at these church parking lots. When you go look at these my videos later on, most of these videos is church parking lots, police encounters. I was exposing the church. Not only was I trying to find a place of peace, at the same time I was exposing the church. Not a single person came to me and said, hey, is there something we can help you with? Can we do something for you? Churches, from my understanding, are supposed to be places of refuge. That was my whole logic in parking at these places. But I soon to find out that these churches are full of shit. Some of these churches were even meeting grounds for these perps to get together to discuss the target and ways that they can try to get the target to get set up. You have to experience this shit to know, to see it for yourself, to really understand it. It is evil. These people are indulging in evil and they feel so good because they're all in on it together. Like I said earlier, you know, monkey see, monkey do. They're the hive mind. You know, they get together and do this to you. It's all fun and games. You're like their little punching bag. Anyways, let me finish playing this.
At this list, the KST file is growing by over 50,000 per year. That is the reason why I'm going to do another video entitled Targeted Individuals, the Cash Cow, because each and every TI, each and every person that goes on that list, there are people from the top down that are getting paid for all of the people who are entered on that list. There has to be surveillance set up. There has to be a whole new agenda set up for this person who is suspected to be a terrorist. Whether they're guilty or not, whether they have probable cause or not, these individuals are set up and they're framed to be terrorists. And
That's exactly what they did to these targeted individuals who went out to do these mass shootings. They had enough of the abuse. They had enough of the covert abuse. They had enough of the overt abuse. They had enough of being drugged. They had enough of working a job for a time and then all of a sudden they fire you. And then you got to go back and look for another job again because you're getting workplace mobbed and fucked with. They are creating fucking terrorists. These people should be in fucking prison. These people need to be executed. These people are they are treasonous. So that's why when I hear these stories about these mass shootings and stuff like that, like, you know, it's terrible that the TI had to get to that level or get to that point. But at the same time, I can understand. I can totally understand if you people knew the things that they've done to me. More importantly, the things that they've done to my family. Because I'm not the only one in my family that was targeted. I have other family that's targeted as well. If only you knew the things that they were doing to them, then you'd understand why you don't feel bad when some of these people get destroyed that are involved in this.
that's what this list, that's what this document is bringing out. And it's a major violation of human rights, major violation of the Constitution. I'm going to keep reading here. This really gets into detail on how people are nominated. It gets into detail on why people are nominated. It gets into detail on, you know, because it's put out by the American Civil Liberties Union. So it gets into all of the infractions against the Constitution that threaten the liberties of individuals in the United States. And I'm blowing the whistle on this. This is very, very telling and very revealing, this entire document. It says the document raises serious questions about the accuracy of many of the records in the KST file. All right. So there are a lot of questions that have come up since this lawsuit, since the FOIA. And it has to do with the accuracy of the records. It's
And we don't even know the accuracy of the records because they won't let us see the records. We can't even see what we're being accused of. That's how you know it's bullshit. Because if they were to allow us to see these records and see the information that they have on us that supposedly has us being suspected, these people would be thrown in fucking prison. That's why the people that are higher up on this keep it a secret, because if they let it out, they know their asses are going to prison. As much video footage as I take of my life, I am very curious to see what they have on me to have me on this fucking list. I'm very curious to see it. I bet you anything I have video footage that will counter the shit that they have on me. The bullshit that they have on me. I promise you. But they don't want to let that information out because they know that this program is a fucking fraud. They know it. And once again, on a higher level, the whole classified and the secretive aspect of it. There's something about us that these people up there know that the unwitting public doesn't know. We are. I will say this: we are not terrorists. We are not fucking terrorists.
Says the FOIA documents indicate that the F boys long lack sufficient safeguards for new entries to the file, increasing the risk that innocent individuals would be placed in it and retained there indefinitely. Now, that is startling to know that innocent people can be placed into the KST file and they can remain there indefinitely. Again, spelling out the fact that when you follow the money trail, you realize why people are being targeted, why people are being gang stalked, especially innocent civilians. Although the
How long does it take for an investigation of someone who is suspected of being a terrorist? Since 2014, I became aware of this being on this list, and this is now 2023. But yet I've not been thrown in prison. I've been to jail for bogus charges like resisting an officer without fucking violence because I didn't give my ID, because I didn't want to identify myself, because I had not committed any fucking crime, because I had a handcuff key on my keychain when subsection C of the statute for unlawful possession of a handcuff key explicitly states that the handcuff key has to not be attached to a key ring. My handcuff key was on my key ring. So for shit like that and other charges that they framed me on, that they set me up on because they were watching and they sent their agent provocateurs to set everything up, when they were in violation of the Constitution from the jump with this illegal fucking surveillance and listening in on my conversations and disrupting my relationships with ex-girlfriends and other friends, how does that warrant national security, sabotaging the relationship between two people that love each other? How does that warrant national security? How does poisoning someone's food warrant national security? Sabotaging their vehicle, depreciating their means of living. How does that warrant? These people are fucking creating terrorists. They're creating monsters. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out, like when I was going to grocery stores. People would see me be like, "Oh my god," or they'll jump, acting like they're scared, indicative of them trying to, like, on some subliminal shit, trying to say that I'm the monster. I'm the monster in the community. Oh, I'm laughing. It's like you gotta laugh to keep from crying. These people are sick, are mentally ill. Anybody that would sit up there and partake in this. And I've seen the eyes of some of these perpetrators, man. Some of these people don't even want to do the shit. You could see they even feel bad. Like, I've had people deliver, like, groceries to me, and it was this couple. It was like this Caucasian couple. They might have been husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. But I could just tell, like, they just had like this look in their eye, like they just felt bad, or like a target can tell when they encounter like somebody who is a perp, but they don't really want to do it. That's why I can, like, forgive people, because I know sometimes they might be in a position where they don't have a choice, or they got something going on. If they don't do it, something will happen to them, like that type of thing. So I'm like, okay, fine, go ahead and have your thrill. I'll take it. I'll be the Christ and take it, because that's essentially what we are. We share in the sufferings of Christ. This is the stuff that they did to him back in the day. They gaslighted, they spread rumors and lies and slanders, said he was the devil. They do the same thing with me. They try to say I'm the devil, or I'm a demon, or a soulless person, or whatever. No, it's everything in this world is inverted. It even says in the Bible, woe to those that call good evil and evil good. These people know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and the truth in its full capacity is going to come out, and all these people are going to be exposed, and there will be no mercy on your soulless lives. There will be no mercy on you.
The process has been more centralized over time. The current system lacks adequate substantive oversight for existing entries and utilizes a low reasonable suspicion evidentiary standard that is subject to numerous exceptions. It's subject to numerous exceptions. Now, as I scroll down here, I want to read this portion here. It says the primary purpose of the KST file is not law enforcement. Now, I want to emphasize that. The primary purpose of the KST file, which is basically a government watch listing file, is not about law enforcement, but it's about surveillance and tracking of individuals for indefinite periods. All right, so it's about surveillance. It's not about law enforcement. It would be legitimate for law enforcement to create a list of individuals for whom arrest warrants have been issued, but such individuals constitute a minuscule percent of the overall number of records in the file. So of all the number, if you take the 272,000 people in 2008, a very small percentage of the 272,000 in 2008 were individuals that had arrest warrants or that committed a crime. It's about surveillance.
Yep. And like I said, majority of the police encounters that I had never got arrested. They never even put their hands on their guns with me. They never even drew their weapon. No cop has ever drew their weapon on me. Ever. I've had plenty of police encounters. They know me. Hell, they watch me. They know I'm not that kind of guy. I got arrested for a charge in the state of Texas. And you know what the sheriff deputy told me? He says, you're a really good guy, but you made a poor choice. How do you know that I'm a good guy and I've never met you before that night? How do you know? Let me continue.
Goes on to say police encounters with others in the file almost never result in arrest and are not intended to do so. Rather,
what did he just say? They almost never result in arrest. Here you have it. All these videos that I have never resulted in arrest. All these videos that I have in the state of Texas posting my police encounters never resulted in arrest. So if that doesn't tell you that this is indicative of being targeted, I don't know what will. I don't see many other people that have videos of police encounters like I do. To be honest with you, now that I think about it, a lot of the people that post videos, they might have video footage of seeing police sirens and stuff like that, which is also a clear sign of the harassment. They will use the fire trucks and have police vehicles running their emergency lights and the sirens and the whole shebang. But I rarely see any other TIs that have police encounters like I have. Or maybe they're just keeping those people away from me, keeping me from like seeing those videos so that I don't try to link up with them and try to come up with a game plan. So that's something else to think about. If you're going through this program, if you watch this Watchlist documentary here that this gentleman put together, these are all the signs of being targeted. And this is how they operate, what they do, what the purpose of it is. But again, the secretive part of it, they don't let you in. The classified part of it, they don't really tell you the truth as to what's really going on. These people know who we are. I got made. I'll just leave it at that.
the encountering officer is
Not made in the criminal sense. I'll put it that way.
instructed to relay information about the watch list individual to the F-boys without revealing to the individual that she has been watch list or that information is being gathered. Now, I want to emphasize this. When you encounter an officer as a TI, immediately the information is passed on to the F-boys without you even knowing that you're being watch list. This is what the ACLU is saying in this document. And they're going on to say that, such information is being gathered and communicated. What information? It goes on to say the information that's being gathered and communicated, that information can include anything that the officer might glean during the encounter, such as, notice this, The vehicle information, number one. Number two, travel plans and history. Number three, the identities and other details of family members and companions.
Routine police stuff that they do when they stop people. It's routine stuff that they do. But yeah, they have this thing with me where they like to ID me. They always like to get my ID, and they know that I'm one that I don't ID myself to police officers if I've not committed a crime. I don't fucking have to. Okay? I'm not obligated to identify myself if not committed a crime. Now, if I give a false name, that is a crime, but not giving your identification to an officer that has stopped you on suspicion of something when there's no concrete evidence of nothing, just mere suspicion, no, I'm not obligated to identify myself to you at all. If I give a false name, then that's considered a crime. One thing you have to remember when dealing with law enforcement is ask them, remember, ask them questions. If you have to talk to law enforcement, don't give information, ask questions. The very first thing you should ask a police officer if you have to talk to them in an initial encounter, that's not a traffic stop. Traffic stop, you have to give identification, okay? But if it's just regular situation, some fucking perp or hater has called on you and you've not committed no crime, you know you haven't done anything wrong, the first thing you ask that officer is, can you please remind me of what my rights are? And one of the things that he's going to say is, you have the right to remain silent. Once he says that, shut your mouth. So that's the thing that they have with me is these let me see your ID. What's your name? Do you know that this has even trickled into my personal life as far as like calling calling um, companies to try to do business, companies that usually don't ask me for my name. If I can provide, say, like the address and maybe like a tracking number or something, which is the only information that's needed, right? That's the only thing that you need to verify. But they're making it a point to try to get your name, to try to make it like seem like, oh, we have to do this. You don't have to give your name in those situations, okay? But they have trickled this on down into like my personal business stuff. If I'm trying to call places to get some business done, and these places don't ask me my name, they just ask for other verifying information, it's because they've been contacted and they've been told to play this stupid little game to try to get your name when you don't have to give it. People that are targeted know what I'm talking about. It's just this same narrative of whatever agenda they're trying to fulfill with you and whatever way they're trying to control you. So they will implant their ideology in other areas of your life to try to make it seem like it's normal. When you know that it's not normal, you know what normal is and what's not normal. Okay? Let me finish playing this.
So the information that's being passed on to the F boys includes vehicle information of the TI, travel plans and history, the identity and family members and the companion, whether you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case may be, whoever is your companion, that information is also being passed over to the F boys. This is startling, guys. I mean, this is an egregious.
Ooh, I can't wait till he gets to this part. The FBI and other government agencies use silent hits to track encounters with a watch-listed person without alerting frontline law enforcement officers. During such encounters, the FBI receives an automatic notification of the encounter, while the frontline officer's search of the individual's name and biometric information yields no indication of the individual's watch-listed status. I can't tell you how many times I've had an encounter with police, and while I was having the encounter with police, they get a phone call. This has happened numerous of occasions. Police will encounter me. What are you doing here? Where are you going? Where did you come from? All this old shit. And then all of a sudden their phone rings. They step away. They tell me to hang tight. They step away. They're on the phone talking. Doesn't that look familiar? They're on the phone talking away from you. Got the phone facing you, kind of. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like what perps do when they have their phones and then they'll have the camera facing towards you? Okay? So they're communicating with the handler, which in turn is The feds. Okay, some other higher law enforcement agency, whether it's FBI, CIA, they're talking to someone that's in the federal government. Okay, I can't tell you how many times these phone calls have come about. It's the same type of phone calls that are made to doctors' offices when you try to go get blood work to see if you've been poisoned with something because your skin complexion is turning like dark at times, which is indicative of some sort of like lead poisoning or something to that effect, and you want to go get checked out. That's why targeted individuals are a lot of times are looking for holistic ways of healing because you can't even trust the fucking doctors because they've been threatened or to have their license take away or their practice shut down. So that's why we have to turn to our own means of healing ourselves and making ourselves feel better through eating the proper diet, taking the proper nutrients and all this type of thing. But let me finish this.
breach of freedom of civil liberties. I, I don't know how tax-paying Americans can sit back and allow a program such as this to go on without somebody blowing the whistle and saying, hey, time out. This is a violation of our freedom, violation of human rights, violation of the Constitution. You know, for a person to go on a list and for them to track that person, getting vehicle information, travel plan, history, identities, details about family and companion and all this and passing it over to the F-boys without the person even knowing that they're on this list, that their information is being passed on to the F-boys is quite startling. It's amazing. It's shocking to know that we've come.
Talk about trying to save the taxpayer money. I can't tell you how many times that I've parked at the police station just to try to save the taxpayer money because the police kept sending people out after me, all their fucking perps. So I'm like, okay. And then ultimately leads to some sort of law enforcement encounter, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to save the taxpayer some money. I'm going to go ahead and just park at the police station. I'm just going to park at the police station. Okay? So a lot of times I find myself doing that, just for the sake of, oh, let me just save taxpayers some money, save myself some money because I'm a taxpayer too. I get taxes taken out of my check. So essentially, I'm also paying for a program that is fucking targeting me. They're taking taxes out my fucking check. They're taking taxes out your checks to do this to you. And you wonder why these people are going on shooting sprees?
Come to a time such as this in America. And the fact that there are people, boots on the ground, that are following these TIs and alerting the F-boys. I want to keep reading here. It says the FBI and other agencies. Now, I'm going to cross out other government agencies and put the fusion centers. I'm going to do another video on the fusion centers as well, because there's a lot of information on the internet about that. But it says the F-boys and other government fusion centers use silent hits to track encounters with a watch list person without alerting frontline law enforcement officers. Okay? During such encounters, the F-boys receives an automatic notification of the encounter, while the frontline officer's search of the individual's name and biometric information yields no indication of the individual's watch list status. Did you get that, friends? When you encounter as a TI, when you encounter law enforcement, the F-boys automatically get a notification of every encounter without even the law enforcement knowing about it. And while the law enforcement is taking information such as your name and your biometric information, that information is being passed on as well. It goes on to say, the F-boys document from 2009 showed that the use of the silent hit system became increasingly widespread, and such routine use underscores that the KST file is principally a domestic intelligence gathering tool, not a means of locating and apprehending criminals. And that's the reason why I'm doing this video. That's the reason why I'm speaking out, friends, because
It's principally a domestic intelligence gathering tool, not a means of locating and apprehending criminals. So one must ask themselves, what are the F boys doing with this intelligence? with all this information that they're gathering on people, what are they doing with that? Are they just doing it for fun? Or are they actually doing something very nefarious behind the scenes that's secretive and classified that they don't want to put out? Are they using the information to do directed conversation? Are they using the information to do street theater? Are they using the information to profile people so as to conduct psychological operations against them? One must ask themselves that question. What are they doing with all this information if not to apprehend criminals or terrorists or suspected terrorists? Since 2014 of August to August of what we're about to be in September of 2023, it takes that long to figure out if this person is a terrorist, if we should throw him in prison or execute him or whatever? Okay.
Because this KST file, which is a watch list file, is just about domestic intelligence gathering. This is very, very important, friends. Very important, not only to the TI, but to the person out there who just maintains, a tax-paying free life. This is very crucial. Now, again, this comes from the ACLU. This is their documentation. I didn't write this. This is online. You can search it online. You can get this information if you just search it out online. The American Civil Liberties Union, they prepared this document. It's about 36 pages long. And we're just looking at the first two chapters here. Now, once a person is on the KST file and their information is being gathered and submitted to the F-boys, do you have any right of redress? Notice the next portion here. It says redress for the individuals who are erroneously placed on the KST file is essentially non-existent. So you have no redress. You have no means of contesting your name on the KST file.
So for the people that are involved in this, that are watching this shit, or maybe they keep this from perps. I don't know. Maybe they keep it from the people that would really think about this and what they're doing. But do you think that's fair? What they think probably doesn't. They don't even care about what they think, really, as long as they're getting paid, right? The almighty dollar is what they care about. They don't care about whether or not the target can redress it, contest it, if they'll have due process, none of that, as long as they're getting a paycheck or some sort of incentive or something to do this to you.
Right? This document goes on to say that the F-boys' longstanding policy is to neither confirm nor deny that an individual is on a terrorism watch list.
Man, so I have submitted Freedom of Information Act requests to the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense, the DOJ, which essentially is FBI. I've submitted all this inquiries and open records requests to these people. And this very verbiage that he just mentioned in this video, we can neither confirm nor deny that an individual is on a terrorism watch list. So you get no fucking answers. So you're wasting your time submitting. I mean, I would do it for those of you that are just realizing that you're going through this shit. Just do it for the hell of it. Just to prove, just to know that I'm telling you the truth. Do it for yourself and see for yourself. You're not going to get no info. They're not going to tell you. They are not going to fucking tell you. I got a video on that. Let me try to find it real quick. I will try to find that video for you. Oh, check this out. This is the main video I have posted on my going off on a little tangent real quick. I posted this on my the page of my YouTube channel, right? Perp gets into my vehicle. This was at the YMCA, which a lot of military personnel was going to. And these motherfuckers was doing psychological operations on me like crazy. They had people going in my vehicle while I was in the... I would mainly go in there to go take a shower. I didn't go in there to work out or none of that shit. I was just trying to go in there and get clean because at the time I was working at a warehouse job and I didn't want to stink up the place. So I would go off in here and take a shower. I come back, my food's fucked with, my bag's been moved around. There's some mysterious liquid or chemical that's been placed on my steering wheel. I mean, these people were giving me the blues and giving me the works with their psyops and their black ops. I promise you. But anyways, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was going to the video that I created in the beginning of my targeting. I think it was like around maybe 2016. I was a couple years in, and I started submitting my request, Freedom of Information Act request. I'm gonna find that video, and I also put it in the link as well of my attempt to reach out to the FBI to find out what the fuck is going on. 1 second here. No, that's not it. That's not it. It's getting close. It's getting close. Internet always right here. Gang stalking, FBI, no man can help. Okay. So this is the video right here. You can look it up. You can search for it on YouTube. That's where I did. Do you see the FBI's seal on that paperwork? That's the Freedom of Information Act request. And all you get is they can neither confirm nor deny. So they ain't telling you shit. Let's continue.
So you can be on a terrorism watch list and not even know you're on the watch list. All your information can be passed on to the F-boys, as well as other government agencies like fusion centers and so on and so forth. You could be followed by people in the community. You could be harassed by people in the community and not even know why, not even be able to contest why, not even be able to understand how you can get off the list.
I've been in neighborhoods where I set up my cameras whenever I'm outside for surveillance of any gang stalking or perp activity, right? And they will deliberately have their children come outside, or if they know of a time that I usually like to come outside and sit out in the sun, they'll have children playing out there. Then of course I'm going to get my camera out and record my surroundings. It has nothing to do with recording children and being a pervert. I'm not a fucking pedophile. I loathe fucking pedophiles. I expose pedophiles. I'm against child trafficking. I record because I'm recording the shenanigans that these agents are enacting upon me. And some of these agents even use their children, as I have clearly exposed in my previous video that's titled Florida Experiences. Okay? Where these people will use their children, and there's no age limit. These people have used children as young as 6 and 5 years old to do crazy shit. Okay? That's how sick these fucking people are.
Have no right or ability to be able to get off the list. Someone's paying for this. Someone has instituted this program for the purpose of tracking innocent people, and someone's reaping benefits, financial benefits from it, this program. Now, moving on to the next page, it says here, in order to not to alert the individual of the possibility of pending investigation, the officers are instructed not to reveal to the individual that they are on a terrorism watch list or terrorist watch list.
And God bless the heart of that soul, the soul of that Houston police officer. I don't remember his name. It was a Caucasian dude. He told me, and there were multiple police agencies. I actually believe the CIA was on the scene with this incident that occurred, but that police officer told me while I was sitting on the concrete with my hands behind my back, I had been assaulted. I'm the one that has all the cuts in my scraped knee and all this shit, and I was in handcuffs. And he asked me, he says, "Are you a Fed?" And as he asked me that, he tilted his glasses up and down. Now, bless his heart, he may not have known about remote neuromonitoring where these people could actually see through your fucking eyes. And I hope that officer is all right. Because when he said that simultaneously, when he said, "Are you a Fed?" and he tilts his glasses up and down, put two and two, it doesn't take an Einstein to figure out what he was communicating to me. That I was on a federal fucking watch list. Let's continue.
Even if, as often happens, individuals come to suspect that they have been placed in the KST file, the F-Boys has not instituted a process through which they can contest that placement and clear their names. The KST file is essentially a black box, friends. That's why I titled this video, The TI Program is a Black Box. The TI program is a black box because it says here, the last sentence here, and I'm gonna stop here, but it says here the KST file is essentially a black box.
You're boxed in, baby. Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide. They're calling it the black box for a reason. At this point, it's like I'm starting to believe it's only going to take divine intervention for this shit to end. They did this to my father back in the 90s. I mean, I witnessed my dad doing this. I know I've spoken about this repetitively, but it's important for people to know they haven't watched or heard about it. He worked as a research analyst for the American Cancer Society, was going to go to the media about something he found out about cancer, and they murdered him. It was no coincidence that they had me working in cancer hospitals. When I went to go sign up for a temp agency, it seemed like the only kind of work I was getting was working in hospitals, specifically cancer hospitals. Yes, I worked at the MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas. In Houston, Texas, world-renowned, famous medical center. I worked there. I worked for the Methodist Research Hospital Institute in Houston, Texas. Okay? It was no coincidence that they had these people give me jobs working in these hospitals. It's also no coincidence that they've had some agents come into my life who will say, oh, they have cancer, when really they don't. They just want to see what I know. It's no coincidence whether it's been at the workplace, various workplaces that I've worked, they'll have people come on, agents, to watch me. For the sole purpose, they will learn the job that I have just to be able to watch and observe me. These motherfuckers are not working doing the work of the company. They are monitoring my fucking calls while I am dealing or trying to do business. That's how sick these fucking people are, man. That's how sick they are. Psychological operation, psychological torment and harassment. They find out what your triggers are. They'll try to find out about traumatic events that have occurred in your life, whether it was before them or while they were doing the traumatic events that they've created. They like to reenact and remind you of to cause you psychological harm. This is the type of shit that they're doing to us, but they try to lie and say that this is national security when they are creating terrorists. Can you imagine those poor Muslims in those countries? All those people that got killed that they deemed as terrorists, and them people had no interest in doing anything to the U.S., and they just made shit up just to have a reason. And that's exactly what these people are doing. They're making shit up to have a reason to do it.
An opaque and expanding accumulation of names for the purpose of profit. For the purpose of profit. That spells corruption. The KST file is essentially, friends, a black box. And when you get your name on the KST file, whether you committed a crime or not, whether you're a terrorist or not, whether you even own a firearm or not, it doesn't matter, because somebody's getting paid to not only surveil you, but someone's getting paid to follow you, to harass you, to turn you into a terrorist, to justify being on the KST file. And that's what's happening to most targeted individuals.
I can attest to that. That's exactly what's happening to me, and that's exactly what's happening to a lot of you people. Okay? Again, be very careful about these fake ass TIs that are on here talking about fairies and fucking fallen angels and all this old kind of shit. Again, maybe at its root, at the source, it is spiritual, right? But what we're dealing with is a very real three-dimensional thing right now. And the reality of it is we are still in this three-dimensional plane where our flesh is suffering, where we can feel pain and all this type of stuff. Okay? So I can't um expose reptilians or give evidences of proof of gray aliens and fallen angels and fairies and all this shit. Okay? I can't even give proof of V2K. I don't identify with V2K, not saying that it's not real, but that has never been my experience. I've had some experiences I'll leave that for another video. But I just the V2K stuff I don't really subscribe to because I have never experienced that. Okay. But I'm open minded because I know how it feels for a person to discard or dismiss what I'm saying as crazy, right? So I always try to have an open mind about things like that, not to throw shade or to discredit anybody that's experiencing V2K. But what I'm trying to stick to is things that are tangible that we can actually expose. Okay, that's the logical thing to do at this point. And then once it's out there and it's fully exposed and everyone's aware, then we can dig deeper down the rabbit hole to see where this shit leads, if that makes sense.
And by the way, it's a black box with no bottom, because once you get placed on the file, you get in the box. There's no bottom. You just fall down lower and lower and lower. You lose your job. You lose your friends. You lose your family. You lose your reputation. You lose your innocency. You lose your mind if you're not careful. That's why, friends, I want to tell you, those of you that are TIs and those of you that have been placed on this file, unless you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, there is no hope. Jesus is the only way out of this black box that someone has deemed necessary for free civil liberty Americans. Again, this document was put out by the ACLU. It's entitled Trapped in a Black Box, Growing Terrorism and Watchlisting and Everyday Policing. I'm going to move on to another video here. This is Trey Gowdy contesting the terrorism watch list. Listen up, friends, to what Trey Gowdy says.
Let me ask you another question about the terrorism list. What process is afforded a U.S. citizen, not someone who's overstayed?
And this is why I say pay attention to the FISA 702 hearings that they're having, the judiciary committees that they've been bringing up, the weaponization of the federal government. All this stuff is talked about. This watch list shit, the validity of it, what goes on. I mean, they're talking about everything. It is up for renewal in December. December 31st is the final day to decide as whether or not they want to either heavily revise it with great oversight or completely just disband it and get rid of it. So this is also part of it. Trey Gowdy has spoken on this many times before, and stuff like that. Now, as far as the religious aspect of this, I'm a very spiritual person. I don't subscribe to any religion. I admire what Jesus Christ stood for. I admire what he was about. I don't believe that there is a savior that's going to come to save us. I do not believe in that. I'm not taking away from Jesus Christ and what he did on this earth and the influence that he's had. You know, I follow in those footsteps to the best of my ability, okay? But what I'm here to tell you is if you think praying and calling out to Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or whatever is going to save you, these people that's doing this don't care nothing about that. I promise you they don't, okay? The only way that I have survived this is through my spirituality and through the willpower that I have vested in me by my creator, by our creator, is how I've been able to survive this shit. The power that is within me. I don't go for powers that are outside of myself to get through this, if that makes sense. Everything that I needed to get through this life from the time that I was born was vested into me. Jesus himself says the kingdom of heaven is within. You have to go within to be able to combat this shit and to be able to stand. Okay? Fuck all this nonsense about people talking about fallen angels and, I mean, if you're trying to expose the stuff that's happening, okay? Because it is criminal. But again, once you go down the rabbit hole of it, then you start to see where this stuff is truly coming from, which I believe it is spiritual at its very root and core. But in the meantime, there are a lot of people that are dying. There are a lot of people going on shooting sprees, a lot of people not getting it, and this stuff still continues. But there are people that can get together to stop it if we really wanted to, but no one cares because people are making money. For the love of money is the root of all evil.
A visa, not someone who crossed the border without permission, but an American citizen. What process is currently afforded an American citizen before they go on that list?
Zero.
I'm sorry, there's not a process afforded the citizen prior to getting on the list. There is a process should someone feel they are unduly placed on the
Yes,
list.
there is. And when I say process, I'm actually using half of the term due process, which is a phrase we find in the Constitution, that you cannot deprive people of certain things without.
And see, this bitch is lying because she said that there is a process to get off of the list or something to that effect. How is there a process to get off of the list when they won't even reveal to you that you're on the fucking list to begin with? Hello.
Due process. So I understand Mr. Good's idea, which is wait until your right has been taken from you and then you can petition the government to get it back. I understand that that's his idea. My question is, can you name another constitutional right that we have that is chilled until you find out it's chilled and then you have to petition the government to get it back? Is that true with the First Amendment?
Sir, there are strict criteria before.
That's
anybody
not
gets
my question,
on the
ma'am.
list.
That is not my question. My question is, what process is afforded a United States citizen before that person's constitutional right is infringed? Then he's fine with doing it with the Second Amendment. My question is, how about the First? How about we not let them set up a website or a Google account? How about we not let them join the church until they can petition government to get off the list? How about not get a lawyer? How about the Sixth Amendment? How about you can't get a lawyer until you petition the government to get off the list? Or my favorite, how about the Eighth Amendment? We're going to subject you to cruel and unusual punishment until you petition the government to get off the list. Is there another constitutional right that we treat the same way for American citizens that we do the Second Amendment? Can you think of one? Can you think of one?
I don't have an answer for you, sir.
And there you have it. She didn't have an answer, y'all.
You've seen them on the
So if that doesn't tell you, that all this is just a bunch of BS, I don't know what will. I have no clue as to what will. Okay. So, yeah. This is list of all the police encounters. So, again, and I'm looking for other people that are truly going through this. I'm searching for channels of people that are truly going through this shit so that I try to figure something out. It's like they're so good at keeping us apart. And I even question some of the people that comment in some of my videos. Some of these people are very suspect. I mean, you click on their links and there's nothing in regard to their harassment. The most you might find is a playlist of shit that is probably tailored and fashioned to threaten you in a subliminal way. Like some of these people that'll post comments on your channel or one of your videos, it's like they'll post it knowing that you're a very inquisitive person, that you look into things. So they know you're going to click on their thumbnail, right? And you click on their thumbnail because you believe that they're targeted because they're watching your stuff and they're commenting. And then you go on their channel only to discover there's no content. And then you look at the playlist and it's all about sending goons out to, sending goons out to kill you. Or they'll have some videos basically trying to transmit subliminal messaging to you of something that is about to happen or something that's going to happen. Just shit like that. Okay? So be very careful of the people that, whose channel that you watch. If they're not exposing this shit and they're on some other like tangent of, oh, let's just, just do this to cope with it, but they've never experienced it themselves, I'm not, no, thank you. My coping mechanisms have worked for me just fine. You know how I know? You know what the measure is for that? I haven't been put in a mental facility. I have yet to be put in a mental facility. My mind is still solid and very intact. These people think I'm stupid, and I also think they believe that I'm some sort of rookie. But I've been dealing with this shit for a long time. Okay? a very long time. Okay, so yeah, I can tell you how to deal with this. I can tell you exactly how to deal with it. But that's all I got for now. I will be posting my Florida police encounters at some point. Um, yeah, I just wanted to share that video with you. Again, I got that video from another uh another TI's
Hey, what's up,
channel.
YouTube? This is Freedom.
So yeah, this is the whole video here. I can post the link to his channel if you'd like. But yeah, excuse the cuss words or whatever. You know, like I used to make videos in the past and I didn't cuss and stuff like that, but I don't. It doesn't matter at this point. You know, our constitutional rights are it's covertly have been taken away. You know, and it's like I'm doing anything and everything I can to uphold it, to exercise it. First Amendment right, freedom of speech. Hey, I'm exercising it to this full capacity because they're trying to take that away. They're trying to take it away. So excuse the vulgarity in the video. My videos aren't set for children. You know that it is set up that way. So you know it's only supposed to be adults watching this. And so yeah, it's crazy, man. These people are evil and wicked, and you just you just don't know. Just anyways, until the next one.